Welcome back. It is Tuesday, March 5th in the NBA. My 5 favorite picks are on the way, but it's not just my picks. It's Austin, joined by Logan from Calling Our Shot. We each got some picks for you. I got 3. Logan's got 2. And if we somehow go 5-0 today, we're giving away $100. How do you get the $100? Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and I'm pretty sure if maybe you don't win the $100, you'll be pretty happy if we go 5-0 because I know a lot of you guys out there parlay the picks. But let's talk about yesterday, man. Logan, yesterday should have been a sweep, man. I'm so frustrated. A 2-1 day. Now I'll talk about your pick. I mean, Jazz Wizards over. It was looking sweat free. I mean, they had like 150 points combined at halftime, and then you had to sweat it out, and it was 242. A true sweat. Not a sweat. Mikal Bridges under. We'll take that. And then our only loser of the day, why I said should have been a sweep, because Anthony Davis took his over in points, 24 at the end of the third. Did not play in the fourth due to a blowout. Logan hasn't been betting the NBA the whole season, but he surely knows about the blowouts and how bad those can be. But it is what it is. A little over 41 units on the year. Let's dive into today's picks. But before we do that, I do want to talk first and foremost because I'm going to go first. I want to talk about Sleeper. Right now, they had a great offer for you all out there. They got a free square for new users for Kevin Durant to score 1 point. If you don't think he's dropping 1 point tonight, you're out of your mind. He's going to get it done. Best part, it's only for new users, but if you use our code COS or the link in the description, they also match your deposit. First deposit up to $500. A really good offer. Sleeper, we use them pretty often. I'm always placing things left and right on there, so definitely check it out. They got a bunch of different options, and they're pretty useful come MLB season 2. So definitely check out Sleeper. Details down below. Speaking of Kevin Durant, my first pick actually involves him. It's his over 32.5 points plus assists, which is currently minus 110 on DraftKings. Now, look, I was looking at PRA lines, but I personally think PRA lines are pretty sharp. I don't know. There's something about them. It's just like you get a PRA line and they're always coming down to the end of the wire. And I rather just trust the points plus assists here. 2 stats that I really think he can pile up tonight. Because, look, if you take a PRA line and maybe Durant's like, yo, I'm going to grab 3 rebs for you. You're not in a good spot here. So I like Kevin Durant, and I was looking at a couple different ways to play as perhaps maybe a 25 points, 4 assists, same game parlay. I'm not going to get cute with it. Let's just talk about Durant and why I like him on the road tonight in Denver. Now, Devin Booker is out, which obviously is important. He's the running mate there. Bradley Beal is back. Minutes restriction, who knows what his usage is going to be there. Yusuf Nurkic is questionable. That's the whole Suns injury report. Now, you saw last game without Booker. Beal played pretty well. Durant did not. They ended up losing that game to OKC, lost it by, I think, 8 points. I was at home. Durant, 20 points, 5 turnovers, shot 40% from the field, 3 assists on 7 potential assists. Not a good game. We know Durant, not a guy that typically shoots 40% from the field. He's normally pretty good, and he's normally better than that. I mean, it's Kevin Durant. You know his name, and in 11 games without Booker this season, he's been very good, averaging 30.5 points per game and a little over 5.5 assists per game, almost 36 points plus assists, well above this line. And he's gone over this line in 9 of 11 without Booker this year. So, look, that included a game against Denver when he didn't even play well. That was on December 1st. He scored 30 points, shot 8 for 25. The man could not buy a bucket. 8 for 25, 11 assists, crushed this line. Obviously, not an easy matchup versus Aaron Gordon. We have a lot of respect for AG, but do you really think I'm scared of Aaron Gordon when we're back in Kevin Durant in a game that his team's coming off a loss? They're big underdogs here. They're like 8, 9.5 point underdogs. They need Durant to play and be competitive and be aggressive in the spot. I would think this spot would get a lot of usage out of Durant because I don't see his teammates showing up on the road, and I don't see him, maybe you see sometimes Durant this year, he kind of eases into games. He's like, fine, I'll let you guys kind of figure it out. I don't think this is a game he can ease into it or else he'll be down about 20 points early into the second quarter. I think he starts off hot and starts off with a vengeance, and hopefully he gets some assists there too because there's a chance he could get 30 points. He could hit this over in points alone, but he could also get 6, 7, 8 assists too. That wouldn't surprise me. So KD, you're a free square on Sleeper. Make sure you use our code COS, but you're also my first prop of the day. But Logan, you got a great pick tonight, and I know everyone is going to absolutely hate this first one, which probably means it's a winner. Where are you going?
Yeah, go ahead, get your keyboard out, ready for me to say this one. I'm going to the Cavs versus Celtics game, and I'm taking the Cavs plus 7.5, minus 105 odds on BetMGM, your best value there. Now, I would play this to 6.5, just theoretically say it drops. It won't drop to 6.5. I'd be so shocked if this actually, I bet this line even probably goes up to 8 or 8.5. So I'm probably getting worse value myself just because I know that without even looking, where the public is in this one. And there are some notable injuries for Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell and Max Strus both out of this game. Logan, you're out of your mind for taking the Cavs. They just lost to the terrible Knicks without Jalen Brunson, too. Now, if you look at the Celtics, Porzingis and Jaylen Brown are both questionable, but the analysis for this game is I assume both play. I always assume worst case scenario. It would be a treat if Jaylen Brown just randomly was out for this game, but I don't see it happening because that's not my luck. The fact that the Cavs aren't getting 9+ points to a juggernaut Celtics team should tell us a lot about this game. The Cavs have lost by 7 and 11 to the Celtics this year with Donovan Mitchell in the lineup, but those games were both in Boston. This is a different spot for Boston. The books aren't afraid to make the Celtics a huge favorite, especially not a huge road favorite. We see huge road favorites all the time. Actually, like it's very common in the NBA these days. I think the books are kind of telling us this is a closer game than expected. On the road, too, the Celtics defense is just not the same as they are at home. They're allowing 112 on the road compared to 107 at home. Obviously, a few more points there to the road. And Boston is just 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 versus Cleveland and 1-5 straight up in Cleveland in their last 6 games. That's kind of what I think the people are missing if they're analyzing this game. This is going to be a tough spot for the Celtics to play. They've won and covered in 7 straight games. The last time they had a close game was in Miami, which I'd argue is a very similar spot to this one. As 8-point favorites in that game, the Celtics only won by 4. Like the Heat, the Cavs play defense. Something that can't be said about the majority of the Celtics opponents recently. I mean, congrats. You beat the Nets. You beat the Warriors, who the Warriors didn't even play defense. They looked like an all-star game out there for themselves. They were just standing around watching things happen. This is the first road game off a 3-game homestand for Boston. Normally, these teams aren't as sharp coming out off the homestand into a very tough environment where they're going to get some great defense play. The strength of the Cavs defense is in the interior. They're 3rd best in points per game allowed. So hopefully they can make life difficult for Boston, force them into taking some mid-range jump shots or even 3-pointers. And you just got to, we do have to hope that Boston isn't making their threes. Being on the road, obviously not as efficient making the threes there. If the Cavs can turn this into a low-scoring slugfest, we'll be grateful for the 7.5 points we're getting. This is just how I see the game flow going. See a lower-scoring game, and in a low-scoring game, getting nearly 8 points is what you want. Mobley missed both those matchups versus Boston this season. We'll need his scoring today, and obviously their interior defense is a lot different with Evan Mobley. We'll need his scoring today, and we'll also need Darius Garland to step up in a big way. I think both those guys do step up. They contribute offensively and defensively. Give me the Cavs plus 7.5. I know no one's going to like that pick. Celtics are just a juggernaut. They're going to cover every single game for the rest of the year. Right, Austin?
Yeah, Logan. Yeah, I love the pick. I love it. I was going to take some props in there, but I was just going to let you take the Cavaliers plus 7.5. That's probably a close game at TNT. Like you said, losing to the Knicks, the nasty Knicks who lost Brunson like 10 seconds into the game. Love it. Now I'm going to sneak my under pick in here because everyone's going to be commenting about that one. They're not going to want to comment about the under I'm taking because I'm on another star under, and it's Tyrese Maxey. He's obviously a young and up-and-coming star, but I like his under tonight, 27.5 points, minus 106 on FanDuel. Now, I didn't see any value in taking a PRA or a points plus assist line under for Maxey because he really hasn't been getting a lot of assists lately, but the lines aren't that high because they've been starting Kyle Lowry in the starting lineup. So I think his points plus assists like 32.5. But why am I fading Maxey tonight? Because he's the COS Hall of Famer, and we love Maxey. We've been back early on in the season. We were taking his overs basically every game, it felt like, because he was so good, and that's what earned his right into the COS Hall of Fame. How are we going to fade him? Because obviously we're far past the beginning of the season. Now, obviously let's talk about a couple notes here. Sixers on the road to take on the Nets. Number one, we talked about this yesterday. The Nets, 5th slowest pace in the NBA over the last 10 games. Hence why the over-unders below 220. We're looking at a 218, 217 over-under. Number two, a big note here. Nets have allowed the 2nd fewest fast break points in the NBA over the last 5 games. So they've been getting back on defense, even with a bunch of guys banged up. The current lineup getting back on defense, and knock on wood, I didn't check the injury report. I really hope Cam Thomas continues to be out because I won't lie to you, Cam Thomas, he's going to catch a stray here. He's just a traffic cone. The brother does not play defense. But let's talk about number 3. Is this the first game of back-to-back? We look at that. Philly is coming in here off 2 straight wins. One against the Hornets, got to win that. The other one was that game against the Mavericks. Logan picked them in that game. This is the beautiful letdown spot for him. Mavericks game on the road, another game on the road in Brooklyn before you return back home tomorrow against the Grizzlies, a team that you're like, all right, we should smack the Grizzlies. Everyone's smacking them, although the Nets did just lose to the Grizzlies. I think that we see the Nets have a good chance at winning here, and their defense should be able to step up. This season, he's under in both games versus them, scoring 25 and 23, despite, shooting 20 and 23 times. So a lot of field goal attempts. It's not like he was shooting 10 times, and now that Embiid's out, he's shooting 20. No, he shot a ton. You look at Maxey under this line in 62% of games and 60% without Embiid, so it hasn't really been a big difference. And if you look at his other lines, his 3-point prop, him to make 4 threes, about plus 200. So if you were to flip that, him to go under that line is about minus 250, give or take. And this season, when he's made 3 or less threes, he's averaging under 23 a game. He's gone under in 77% of games. So while the Sixers, are they banged up? Yes, they're missing a lot of guys, but I think that doesn't necessarily hurt us here because Maxey's really the guy that they're going to have all their defensive focus on. It's going to be, hey, we got to slow down Maxey, and we got to slow down him as best as we can. So, look, I'm going to get out of here with an under. I really like Tyrese Maxey, under in points, my second pick of the day. But, Logan, you got another one for the people, and it's going to be an over pick. Where are you going?
I have to balance out your under. I'm taking the Pelicans versus Raptors over 228.5, minus 110 odds on FanDuel, your best value there. Now, I would consider playing this one. I would consider playing this one up to 229.5. If it does go up there, I'm not sure that it does. We don't know how these lines move. They move in mysterious ways, but I would consider just playing it a point or two higher. Surface level, this line might seem high for these two teams, but I see a track meet on our hands. In their previous matchup, New Orleans won 138-100. The Raptors are without Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes, and Bruce Brown today. With those guys out, I really see their defense struggling today even more. I mean, Jakob Poeltl is a great paint defender / rebounder. Now with those guys out, the Raptors played fast with those guys in, and now they're going to have to play just as fast, if not faster, with them out because they're going to be playing smaller type lineups, and they're just going to be trying to run up and down the court, get whatever they can in that way. Quickly, and RJ Barrett, those are the guys that push the pace for this Toronto team. There's a reason why Toronto is first in fast break points per game. They got to get out and run. And a reminder, when New Orleans was just on the road in Indiana, they gave up 123 to the Pacers, who scored 21 points in the fast break in that game. Why do I bring up that game? Why is that relevant? Because the Raptors play a very similar pace style to the Pacers. There's a reason why when the Pacers and Raptors matched up, it was always a close game track meet because it was just back and forth, back and forth. I think there's kind of a weakness there for New Orleans' road fast break / transition defense. Over the last 10 games as well, the Raptors have allowed the 9th most three-pointers in the NBA. The Pelicans have allowed the 11th most. So two teams that are allowing nearly the top 10 three-pointers. This is a game that there could be points from beyond the arc as well. Brandon Ingram had 41 in their February matchup, but Zion and CJ still got theirs. I think if you look at this Pelicans team, not a whole lot standing in their way as far as Raptors defense. I see scoring on both sides in this game. Give me the over. I just think all signs point to the over. I don't think it's going to be as sweat-free as like some parts of that Jazz game were last night as we look at just kind of like how these two teams play. But I just think the play style is dictating an over, and I think we do get up and over that 228.5 points.
Logan, love the pick. Hopefully that one, like you said, hopefully sweat free. But like I said, over unders, you never really know. Hopefully the luck's on your side. Those teams are making some shots. Now, our final pick of the day, 5th and final one. If we do go 5-0, like I said, make sure you do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, drop a like. You could win $100. Just saying. Bogdanovic over 2.5 3-pointers made, minus 135 on ESPN bet. Now, there's a couple notes here. Number one, if this gets more juiced, I'd probably play up to minus 150. If that's the case, you get past that, well, I don't know what the heck happened. I mean, I guess it could go higher than that. Sure, you can maybe go on 4 threes if you want, but I'd probably just plays over in points at that point, but not for a full unit, maybe just a half unit play. Now, let's talk about Bogdan. We got a battle of the Bogdanoviches as Bojan's on the other side on the bench for the Knicks. But this is a spot where I was going back and forth, and I talked to Logan about this pre-show because I was going back and forth. I liked his over in points, and I liked the 3-pointers. The problem with the reason I took the 3-pointers is because I felt like if Bogdan's going to score 15.5 points, Probably going to need 3-pointers and probably going to need 3 of them at least. If somehow Bogdan goes out there and scores 16 points tonight and doesn't get 3 threes, just know I will be in pain here. But let's talk about Bogdan, who is, obviously in the starting lineup now with Trae Young now sidelined with an injury. It's been 4 games with Trae sidelined. He's going to be sidelined for a lot longer than just 4 games. Obviously sidelined again tonight. But in these games, you've seen Bogdan have 17, 19, 11, and 13 points. And in those games, he's attempting over 10 free field goal attempts and all them. But biggest thing, we need 3-pointers. He's scored 3, 3, 1, and then 3.
So Austin's power cut out. So I'm gonna finish his analysis for his Bogdan pick. Hold on, I got to pull up his notes. Yeah, so obviously we're gonna be on Bogdan's points. This is a very scuffed video, but Trae Young remains out. Bogdan's now in the starting lineup, playing 33-ish minutes a game. The last 4 games without Trae Young, 17, 19, 11, and 13 points. He's attempted 11, 15, 13, and 13 field goal attempts, shooting 4 for 13 in each of those last 2 games. He's made 3, 3, 1, and 3 threes on 5, 8, 5, and 8 3 points attempted. Several tough matchups versus Brooklyn and Orlando, but the Nets and Magic are a top 3 catch and shoot defense in the last 10 games. Tonight he gets a great matchup versus the Knicks. On paper, Knicks tough defense, but they're struggled recently against top shooters. And there's no better shooter for this Hawks team than Bogdan. He's going to get the shots up, and he's going to hopefully get those looks for us today. Over the last 10 games, the Knicks have allowed the 9th most catch-and-shoot threes made in the NBA, allowing teams to shoot 44.2% on such opportunities. That's 3rd highest. Same time span, they've allowed 5th most three-pointers made at a 2nd highest scoring percentage. Bogdan has scored 16 and 28 points versus the Knicks this season, making 4 threes in each of those games. Again, Bogdan is going to be our 5th and final pick. I really do like that. We could talk about real quick, recap the picks because we did have 5. So just kind of we'll do a quick recap of those. We had Durant over in points and assists. We had the Cavs plus 7.5. We had Tyrese Maxey's under in points. We had Pelicans versus Raptors over 228.5. And then we had Bogdan over in 3-pointers, over 2.5 3-pointers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Austin.
And our last play of the day, our last play already cashed was my internet going out mid-vid. So we're already off to a 1-0 start. You just love that. The internet is just absolutely scuffed over here. But Logan recapped it. Hopefully he did as best as he could with me dropping off mid-call. But either way, those are our 5 favorite picks. Logan, we are going to have a great day. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Good Lord. Peace.